Welcome to the B2B Brand180 Podcast, built for leaders who want to scale smarter with transformative marketing strategies. Hi, I'm Linda Fanera, CEO of Millennium Agency and the host of B2B Brand180 Podcast. Today's guest is Nick Avaria. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he's the mind behind Agency Acquisition IO, and one of the rare operators who have built, bought, and sold 7 agencies while still running his own. You've really helped founders escape that burnout while they're building that, margin-rich business. They can actually scale without actually sacrificing their lives and live and die by work. So for today, our core audience will learn 3 kind of key things. They'll learn the patterns that separate agencies stuck that might be at 300,000, or even those service firms from 3 to maybe 500K in profit, to break into those larger numbers. And then actually how the content-driven systems can actually help drive pipeline, authority, and then additionally revenue. And then that back end, which you spoke about, that operational and leadership that's required to build businesses that perform without founder, like constantly being part of it, which I think a lot of founders have that. Nick, it's great to have you here. I would love to have you share a little bit more insight about yourself.
Firstly, thanks, Linda, for having me. Really appreciate your time and being on the show, and as well as the listeners. I hope that I can bring some value to you today. To give you some background on myself, I really got my start in, my career, right after the financial crisis. So it was an interesting time to be around. I started off in, believe it or not, industrial services firms. So this is really big firms. We were doing well over 100 million. And I ended up doing mergers and acquisitions for them, and kept getting more and more responsibility. And then eventually I opened up my own consulting firm, my own marketing agency, and the rest is kind of history, as you mentioned. So
let's get into it. I'd love to ask you a couple questions. We've scaled service firms into some of the biggest, 7, 8-figure territories. What do you think the biggest bottleneck is keeping most service firms from hitting 1 million in profit?
I'm going to give you the corniest answer ever, which is it's people, but how we get there matters. So the devil really is in the details here. I start off with the model really thinking through, how do I maximize my billable rate? It's no wonder why things like law firms or accounting firms generate high profits, right? And it's because their hourly rate's really high. And in the agency space, hourly rates are, by comparison, much, much lower. And it's no wonder why, if you look at some polls, if you look at what, the top, 30, 40% of firms are doing, say, in a law space, it's a lot of them are doing 25, 30, sometimes even higher percent profit versus, say, a marketing agency who averages 15 or less as the mean average. Now, there's ways, whether you're an agency or a service firm, you have to look at really maximizing that billable rate per hour, and productization goes in here as well. So people are but I'm not trying to do this. I'm trying to productize my offer. It's look, productization is a tactic used to maximize your billable hourly rate, not the other way around, right? So the whole purpose of productization is maximization of billable hourly rate. It's a tool, right? It's not an end goal. It's I don't want to productize and productize. Number 2, we need to tackle building our firms in a way where we have as few people as humanly possible. Having a lot of staff is actually the enemy of scaling profitably well. So the higher revenue per full-time employee that I can generate for the company, the better, right? So we need to really think through that. The best way to do that is to think about our own, as the founder, because arguably in a service firm, we are generally that person that knows the most. We need to be able to maximize our own billable hourly rate to the maximum. You can use productization, you can use just billing a high amount per hour, however you want to go about that, right? And you remember, as a founder, generally no one else is ever going to actually surpass whatever your billable hourly rate is. So if you don't increase it off the bat really, really high, that means that everybody's going to be underneath you. So you better get to, in my opinion, somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 in effective billable rate per hour. That's maybe a controversial take, but if you founded a business, you're probably pretty effective at what you do. You should be able to do much more work in much less time than everybody else. So that's where I'm coming at it from.
That's right. So if you were to look at this operationally, let's say, for example, we're trying to reach that that number, what does the firm look like operationally? Are they offshore employees? Are they in U.S. employees? Is it a combination? And what does that look like? Structure, process, leadership, rhythm, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak quickly to the agency and say, as an agency, you need some sort of done with you or consulting based offer to be able to capture a higher dollar per hour rate. If you're an accounting or law firm, you've already captured that higher dollar per hour. So I'll skip there. Having said that, outsourcing, in my opinion, is essential for low value tasks. Okay. And depending on, legal and like privacy things, obviously that might need to be somebody stateside, which is fine. But the most important thing is like, you need to buy back your time somehow, like as that high billing, high dollar per hour individual. And in my opinion, you just need to outsource everything that's low cost. Like, don't do $20 tasks. In my opinion, if you're the founder, don't even do $100 an hour tasks. Like, don't do them, right? If you can bill, $500+ per hour, like, you should not be doing this stuff. So get an executive assistant very early on in the process. Are they going to be full? No. And I think that this is a huge barrier to people. They don't hire an executive assistant because when they add up the hours that this person's going to do, they're like, I don't have 40 hours a week for this person to do. Trust me, there are things that you have put off that you're not doing because like you can't imagine anyone having the time to do this. This person will have it. So they might start off like, 30 to 50% full. Over time, they will get to 100% full. Outsourcing, I think for agencies is mandatory, especially in the environment that we're in. I think that this is becoming more common as well in accounting and law firms to do like these low value tasks. In the same vein as outsourcing, I do think that AI has come a long way and it can't do end work output yet, in my opinion. However, it can automate small administrative tasks internally and using it intelligently in order for us to like clarify our own ideation and making things just go faster. Like that is where it is today. So those two things, in my opinion, are a necessity. Don't do 20, 50, or even $100 tasks. Like just get rid of them. And this extends, in my opinion, beyond the workplace. Like a personal story that I can give is, we have a young family and, after about 6 months of my wife giving birth, like I had to finish work every single day. And I was going upstairs and cooking, and it was taking me like an hour, hour and a half with cleaning, all this other stuff, right? This is madness. Like I own multiple businesses. Like I'm doing this. Like I don't expect her to do it because like she's, like with a 6-month-old, things are tough. But I was like, why am I doing a task that I can outsource for a fraction of my billable rate? So we actually hired a chef twice per week that would come every 3 days to come cook because the weekends weren't a problem for me, right? So they would come and basically cook that day's meals and the next day's, and that took me to at least Friday. So Friday, it's like, hey, didn't matter. I could do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no problem. So don't just do this for your business life as an owner, founder, or executive. You've got to translate this into your personal life. Get a cleaner, get a chef, part-time, get a house manager if you're making enough money as well. Reinvest that time into either A, getting proper rest, spending good family time, and like not resenting your business by freeing up this time. And number two, if there's even more time, reinvest it into your business and make more money at your higher hourly rate.
So we talked about increasing your hourly rate. I mean, you can productize, but it's not really, it's more of a tactical thing. It's really just getting those numbers up. And then operationally, it's trying to maintain the small number of staff, not continuously adding staff if you get a new client or whatever the case may be. You just be like extra careful with that piece. Now that we have that framework, we had spoken beforehand about how content, architecture is like a revenue engine. So what is a formula that you've used that behind, your content that has helped you scale your businesses?
Look, like the rest of it is all good, but to your point, you need the work. Like the work's got to come from someplace.
Right.
And in my opinion, content is the number one way to do this right now. Like personal brand is, in my opinion, A, the lowest cost, B, most effective moat there is, because the moat is you as a person, as the founder, being out there. I'll say like my formula is actually really simple. There is, somewhere between like 10 to 20% about me, meaning like things that I go through. Like I am quite active on LinkedIn. I generate a lot of leads through LinkedIn and, Instagram, Meta, etc. And what I've found is that you'll get a lot of engagement and things like that from, this like founder-led content that it's like, hey, like I talk about anything and everything, like in this 10 to 20%. Hey, I just sold a bunch of my, real estate holdings, or talk that I had with my wealth manager, or like things that I do day to day that resonate with my target audience because they're founders just like I am. So if I just talk about what I'm doing as a founder on my personal side, generally that connects well, number one. But more than anything, it's just value. Like I just want to inject as much value into my ideal target audience as I possibly can. And I make content that's very specific. If you're not an agency owner, I think a lot of what I'm talking about is, valid for all B2B service. But if you go to my LinkedIn and you look at what I'm saying, like some of it will cross over to other realms, but the maximum value is going to be drawn from an agency owner, where like they're like, this guy's in my brain. How does he know? I've had people go on calls with me that say, Nick, it feels like you're in the boardroom with me and my leadership team. And I look at your LinkedIn post and it's like you wrote about it. And I've never talked to you. That's how well you need to know your ideal client profile. If you don't know your ideal client profile that well, you need to talk to them until you do, and really kind of get those hopes, fears, what are they going through, and all of that, right? From the very beginning of your engagement with them. Right.
Okay, so you covered content. You spoke basically what we're saying is, okay, you're just talking about probably business, tips and so on and so forth, but also about your day-to-day learnings. Could be anything. Like you said, it could be your financial advisor giving some advice, or, how you're using your time. But as far as companies are concerned, what decisions like help them really unlock the next level? We already talked about time of value. Yeah. We talked about sort of operational efficiencies. Are there other things that you could share that you think could really help unlock that next value?
Yeah, I would say like as to round out the content point, one additional item that's really required is like lead magnets, right? And if you don't know what a lead magnet is sort of like this free resource that you give away for absolutely nothing. Like it is literally free. People are going to have to, pay with their email address because you need to send them the thing. That's all you really require from them. But if that thing that you give away is valuable enough, people will understand that and be like, this person or this brand is smart. I need to talk to them, and they will book themselves. And this is where we generate the majority of our leads across all social media platforms with this personal brand strategy. Is after we send them the lead magnet, we just follow up and say like, hey, do you think that this thing could be improved? Did you like what you read? Are you facing some challenges that this thing resolved? Are there any challenges outside of this? Because we might have a different lead magnet that we can give you. And inevitably, people just start talking, because people that have a problem want to talk to somebody that understands their problem. And it's because the brand has established that that is what we do. You're an easy person to talk to. Inevitably, they're going to book a meeting with you if you like steer the conversation that way, if it's needed and if you believe you can help them. I guess to your point around like margins and like things like that, what is the shortest path to this like $1 million in profit idea? I've recently started this consulting firm, Agency Acquisitions, which is A, consulting firm. B, we're doing agency acquisitions as well ourselves for like my own agencies, which I own a couple of. And so it has more than one purpose. But this business has basically followed the exact tenets of what we've talked about today.
Okay.
And agency acquisitions at this time, it's a business that's probably maybe like 90 to 20 months old at this time.
Okay.
It crossed the $1 million in annual profit line about 6 months ago. We're already kind of there. And to be frank, like breaking this down, it's me, it's my assistant, it's one salesperson, and that's it. It's super lean. And like, is my assistant typical? No, they get paid almost double going market rate, right? Is my salesperson typical? No, their commissions and their base is much greater than the average. So like, these are not typical results from typical people. And to create high margin, we need people that are non-typical. So this anchors back to the very beginning where I said the corny answer is people. But I didn't say what kind of people.
Right.
The kind of people matter. And the reason why we need high billable per hour is because high billable per hour means high revenue per full-time employee. High revenue full-time employee governs how much we can pay people. And if you want the top people, you got to pay them top dollar, because if you don't, they're not going to stay with you. So all of these things that we've discussed today, like buying back your time, maximizing hourly, the source of leads, all of this kind of leads to like, and even the content, like that helps attract the best people.
Right.
Like the number of people that come to us and say, hey, can we partner with you? I saw you, like, looks like your audience is like very like active. Like these things afford us opportunities with a very small staff. And the last thing I'm going to do is hire people. And if I am going to hire people, I'm probably going to hire somebody that came to me through the content funnel that is a top performer. And then we're going to do some test projects together and we're going to vet them so that they can be like, I know they're a high capacity person.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think founders, honestly do have a hard time making that shift to where you're talking about, which is a complete mental shift. So what do you think? Just jump in 2 feet first?
I think that the main mental blockage that I had that other people may resonate with is that I was trying to make everything too scalable, too fast. And I learned this a couple businesses in where I was like, I can't be involved in any of the delivery. I can't be part of the day-to-day. Like I need to remove myself as fast as possible. That is the correct thing to do. It's just the order is wrong. It's maybe the third or fourth thing that you do. Like once you've already maximized revenue per employee, once you've already like bought back your time and outsourced as many things as possible, once you've generated a consistent lead source, then you can start hiring leaders and putting them into place and then removing yourself. But guess what? Until those like 3 things are done, you have to be involved very intimately in the business. So this is why I say like the path is generate that annual 1 million in profit as soon as possible. Do the work if you need to, right? In order to get there. Now you can afford top talent that will actually take work off of you, because this is what happens otherwise. You hire a person that's a manager that fits the title box of what you're trying to do, and then you have to do a quarter of the work for them. Why? Because you don't trust them. They don't do the work to your standard, et cetera. It's like, well, why aren't they doing the work to your standard? It's like, well, because A, you're not clear on it because you're not doing enough of it yourself to be able to make it clear. Number 2, you're probably not paying people enough. But if you have $1 million in profit with like a 3-man team, guess what? When you hire somebody, you can spend top dollar on acquiring that person. That person's expectation is to be autonomous within 3 months.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So I'd love to ask you what I'll call like rapid fire questions. So what's the biggest misconception about scaling a service firm?
That scaling is about the number of people you have rather than the revenue you have per person.
Perfect. What's one content channel every service firm should own?
LinkedIn and Meta right now.
Okay. What's the fastest way founders burn themselves out?
Not getting reward for their work.
And what's one system every agency should build before trying to scale?
Dashboards.
It's the single best move a founder can make today to increase profit.
Build out your dashboards internally, because that is what helps you find where you're leaking profit.
Great. That's perfect. Thank you, Nick. So, Nick, these insights were awesome. I think you kind of cut through all the noise. But before we wrap, I would love listeners to connect directly with you. Could you share how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn at Nick Avaria, also agencyacquisitions.io. And if it's okay, I'll leave like a free piece of value for your listeners. I have a training on how to delegate and like how to, manage teams really well. So when you do come to the point where you need to free yourself up from the day-to-day, it's an easy guide to go through for free.
That's great. Yeah, you can go share that with the audience. Awesome. So thank you for listening in today. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd like you to like, share, or subscribe. And for leaders ready to build a brand with real market pull, visit mill.agency or lindafinaris.com.